What is up, movie viewers? Dena Views and Reviews here, asking, what you watching? Well, today I am watching The Glass Onion, starring Janelle Monae, Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Katherine Hahn, Leslie Odom, Kate Hudson, and Dave Bautista. It is written by Ryan Johnson, produced by Ram Bergman, Ryan Johnson, Tom Karnowski. Now, The Glass Onion is noted as being a part of the Knives Out mystery. This movie has crime, drama, and even a bit of comedy. If you love whodunit mysteries like I do, then this film is definitely one for you. I enjoy watching whodunit movies as they unravel, and I love predicting who is the possible guilty party and the ultimate twist. Just when you think you have it all figured out, something tends to happen that completely changes the game and have you second guessing your own conclusion. So these movies I tend to enjoy watching. Now in this movie, there's a multi-billionaire, and his name is Miles Braun. He is played by Edward Norton, and he invites his friends, whom are referred to as disruptors or by someone else as shitheads. So he invites them to his private island for a murder mystery themed party. He has dismissed his entire staff from the island, and he and his friends alone will be there. But of course, there is one wandering drifter, and he occupies himself the entire time. He's not a part of this mystery thing that he has set up. Now, the concept that he has, someone pretends to be killed or murdered off, and it's usually him, the host, and the guests have the entire weekend to try and figure out which one of them actually committed the murder and why did they do it. So Miles, this multi-billionaire, does this theme party on the regular for his so-called friend. So all of the friends receive a stereogram from Miles in which they have to solve. So they're all on the phone and they're trying to solve the cleverly put together communication that they receive in order to find out exactly what the message is. So all of the friends are working together. It involves solving chess games, Morse codes, and a musical puzzle. They all agree that the whole design is just genius of Miles to have come up with. Once all is deciphered, it is magically opened. And once it opens, it reveals a glass onion that unseals itself. Within it, there is the invite that requests their presence to join Miles on his private island in Greece. Now, a private island where he has built a tall mansion in which the murder mystery will actually take place. At the very top of this building that is very large, there is a giant glass onion. So Miles has invited several of his close friends, and that includes Cassandra Braun, and she is a former business partner that he betrayed. He deceived her. He did some very malicious stuff to her. But this partner is played by Janelle Monae. He is surprised to see that Cassandra is actually in attendance, seeing how he cleverly lied and ousted her from the Alpha company that she is the one who thought of and she's the originator of. He was able to use his lawyers to conveniently eject her from the company. He did it, as I said, very conniving and sneaky, and he was very duplicit. With what he done, he was able to leave her destitute because she was unable to produce for the court the actual proof that she was the originator of the idea and the concept of this Alpha company. Now, even though Cassandra Braun, who is known and called Andy, was the originator of the idea for the company, Miles, as I said, used his lawyers to steal it away from her, and he became very rich from it. Now, Alpha is like an online network fusing data, news, and cryptocurrency company. Now, he has invited his friends. Now, some of his friends include Claire DeBella, which is the politician, and she is played by Katherine Hahn. And there's Birdie J, who is a supermodel that turned designer, played by Kate Hudson. And Duke Cody, he's a men's rights activist. He has 1 million followers on YouTube. He's all over social media, so he's a content creator. Then there is Lionel Toussaint. He is played by Leslie Odom Jr., and he is a scientist. And once again, his name is Lionel. And of course, there's Cassandra and Benoit Blanc. Now, Benoit Blanc is played by Daniel Craig, and he just happens to be a famous detective that is secretly hired to peel back the layers of this glass onion by solving the real murder mystery that involves the meandering friends. Now, I gotta admit, it was funny to watch this British actor trying to maintain a southern accent. Each of the characters were a metaphor for the glass onion that was seen at the top of the building. They each came with different levels and underlying stratums that were revealed as the movie progressed. Janelle Monae plays Andy. She plays Andy Braun. And again, the person who came up with the idea for the Alpha Company. I can't overemphasize this. As stated before, it was taken away from her. She was ousted by her nefarious business partner, Miles. Now, he was very surprised to see her. I don't think he was expecting her to attend, even though he sent her an invitation. So Benoit Blanc is hired by Miss Blonde to find out exactly what has happened to her sister and which one of the famous friends are responsible for her demise. The famous detective is expected to peel back the layers once again and solve this mystery. Now, the old friends were clearly happy to meet up, and they were excited to participate in this murder mystery. So they all got together and they were meeting up to take the ship over to the island. They all seemed so blissful and happy until Andy Brand arrives. And her presence, it just completely changed the mood among the acquaintances. And the private detective actually notices this. I have to say, Janelle Monae looks absolutely beautiful in this movie. Her costumes were well chosen. Her makeup, her hair, she just looked gorgeous in this movie. And her performance was fabulous. And partially why I gave this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought she did a very good job of portraying the characters in this film. The cinematography was great, and her character, they were believable to me. When I first began watching the movie, I thought it a bit typical, but as it progressed, I later found that it was cleverly put together. The plot twist, the brainy details, there were complex situations that presented itself that actually aided in making the movie more interesting and kept me on the tip of my seat. So all of the so-called friends were hiding details about themselves that gave them a reason to be considered the possible murderer, or at least aided, or even could have been complicit in this, the planning of the actual murder that occurred. Or as you continue to watch, you see that all of them had a history that was kind of questionable, some things they were dealing with, including in this movie was this hippie guy. And to me, he was just funny. He would just pop up while they were involved in activities, and he would be so nonchalant. It was just hilarious to me. He was completely oblivious to whatever they seemed to be doing or whatever they were involved in. He was just minding his own business. It was such an amusing touch, and I just really liked the way the script was written overall. It was a good flow. I liked the way the sequences were set up. There was lots of satire in this movie. That it was abundant with satire, and it really showed how wealth can harm, corrupt, and damage one's character and one's thinking. The metaphor for the glass onion was evident throughout the entire movie, but more than anything, it certainly showed how money does corrupt and can corrupt people. And all of the so-called friends were merely frenemies for the most part. There are many layers to people and philosophies this movie showed, and in this situation, all the people involved in this group, the metaphor just spoke volumes. The colossal onion at the top of the mansion was quite huge, but the layers were quickly dispatched when the illusion was shattered. Just as the detective started to peel back this so-called onion, and he exposed the billionaire for what he actually was, and everyone looked up to this person. It was the way they looked up to him as if he was a genius, but he was simply personifying an image of aptitude solely due to wealth. In other words, Miles was no genius. Now, The Glass Onion is rated PG-13, and if you would like to check this movie out, you most certainly can, because it is now streaming on Netflix. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments on this particular movie. If you have not already, be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. This has been Dena Monae Views and Reviews. Join me for my next movie review and recommendation, and I want you to remember, it's my view. Now, what you watching?